Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us at this late hour and despite sudden notice. Now we'd like to start joint press conference of Toyota Motor Corporation and Mazda Motor Corporation. I'd like to introduce how this press conference is going to take. We have two sessions today. In the first session, we are going to have the presentation by both companies' presidents, and then we have question and answer session. And after that, the president will leave the room, and then we will start second session. And the executive vice president will be appearing on the stage in the second session, and then have question and answer session. First, Mr. Akio Toyoda from Toyota Motor Corporation, the president. From Mazda Motor Corporation, the president, Mr. Masamichi Kogai. Now, first, we are going to conduct a photo session. The both companies' presidents are going to shake hands as the proof of agreement. So please take the photo. For still photos, we have the time set out later. Is everybody okay? Took videos. Now we'd like to conclude the photo session. Now we'd like to have the presentation from the presidents.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for joining us despite the late hour and the rather sudden notice. I am Toyoda, and I'm pleased to have you all. Today, Toyota Motor Corporation and Mazda Corporation signed an agreement on a business and capital alliance.
Good evening. I am Kogai. The agreement we have signed today is for the two companies to cooperate more deeply with each other in pursuit of creating new types of value for mobility and sustainable growth. The outline of the agreement includes establish a joint venture that produces vehicles in the United States, jointly develop technologies for electric vehicles, jointly develop connected technology, and collaborate on advanced safety technologies, further complement each other's products. We have agreed to start concrete collaborations in these areas as part of our business alliance, as well as to enter a capital alliance.
2 years ago, in May 2015, we announced that Toyota and Mazda would start exploring ways to build a partnership. At that press conference, I made the following comments. These are some of the mottos that Mazda lives by and that I wholeheartedly agree with, and those are: be a driver. It's always more fun when you choose the road you take. We'll never make a car that's boring to drive. And it's clear to me that our aim of making ever better cars is shared by Mazda. Furthermore, this partnership gives us at Toyota a great opportunity to expand our knowledge in a meaningful, wide-ranging way. I'm very grateful to Mazda for that opportunity. 2 years have passed since then, and here today, I'm even more convinced by what I said 2 years ago.
Toyota is a company that has played a leadership role within the auto industry, taking on future challenges and leading innovations in various areas. While being a leading company, Toyota has continuously tackled new challenges in the spirit of making ever better cars, and that really impresses me. I'm grateful for the opportunities we have had over the past 2 years to learn many things, combining Toyota's aspiration and Mazda's never-stop challenging spirit. After understanding each other through open and frank discussions and learning a lot from frequent exchanges, I'm here today with greater confidence that this is a relationship in which both companies stimulate and inspire each other.
In the past, I think competition among automakers was about sales volume, as there was a high interest in who will achieve 10 million sales volumes first. As such, partnerships by automakers were mainly aimed at increasing volumes by leveraging capital resources. As you are aware, we are now facing new competitors such as Google, Apple, Amazon, and so on. New players from totally new businesses are challenging us with a passion to make future mobility society ever better. The future can never be created by automakers alone. And that's why I feel it has become increasingly important for us automakers to gather new partners without seeing things in confrontational perspectives, by both cooperating and competing with them to create the mobility of the future.
Having said this, I can doubtlessly say that cars have played the leading role in mobility society so far. As an automaker, we can have pride in what we have done to contribute to the mobility society. I think we automakers have to have thorough dedication to cars, especially when we move forward with creating future mobility society while competing and cooperating with new players. I believe what's required of us now is the passion of making ever better cars, which may be the starting point for every automaker. Does everyone here know the very first sentence of Mazda's corporate vision? It starts from a message, "We love cars." At Toyota, we love cars too. We will continuously make all possible efforts to create a unique industrial product that can be named with love, regardless of how much things change in the future. Toyota's current challenge is to extensively reform our work processes so that the size of the company with more than 10 million annual sales will be an advantage. I can honestly say that the in-house company management introduced in April 2016 is the result of the collaboration with Mazda, in that Toyota's issues were made clear through working with Mazda, and we decided to take one step further with a sense of crisis. But the greatest fruit of our partnership with Mazda is that we have found a new partner who truly loves cars. It also has sparked Toyota's competitive spirit, increasing our sense of not wanting to be bested by Mazda. What I'd like to emphasize here today is that this is a partnership in which those who are passionate about cars will work together to make ever better cars. And this agreement is also a realization of our desire to never let cars become commodities. I would like to ask for your kind understanding and support.
Mazda will celebrate 100th anniversary in year 2020. Looking beyond 2020, I fully agree with Mr. Toyoda that automakers alone cannot create the future, and that we need to compete and cooperate with new players in order to create the future mobility society. On the other hand, I also believe that automakers must maintain their commitment to cars no matter how the industry changes in the future. And I am certain that is a commitment only automakers can have. I believe Mazda's passion for car making is stronger than anybody. Reading Toyota's global corporate vision and listening to President Toyoda's messages, I feel that we have a lot in common, though our business differ in scale and the breadth of the range. For instance, the corporate visions of both companies speak of moving people emotionally and contributing to society and the earth through mobility. That is why we continue to take on challenges, improve, and innovate. Mazda wants to be a company that never stops striving to innovate technologies and processes, competing and cooperating with new players inside and outside the auto industry. Toward 2030 and even 2050, we are committed to building our unique brand that is small but outstanding through our car making that focuses on the joy of driving and our unique brand value management. And I believe that executing these initiatives is the best way to contribute to this partnership in the long term. We are committed to leading and innovating by bringing together two companies and competitive spirits, stimulating and inspiring each other. And nothing would please me more if we can send a message to the world that, as President Toyoda said in the press conference 2 years ago, cars are going to be fun for the next 100 years as well, thereby helping to energize the auto industry and create more car fans. I would like to ask for your kind understanding and support. Thank you for joining us at this joint press conference, despite the late hour and the rather sudden notice. Now, we'd like to open the floor for questions. The questions and answer session is scheduled for 25 minutes. We are going to hand the microphone to you if you have the question, so please raise your hand if you have any question. Before asking a question, please state your company or organization name and your name. And also, please state which gentleman you are asking the question to. Per time, I'd like to limit the one question to one time. So please raise your hand if you have any question. The front row with the jacket. Miyamoto from Chunichi Shimbun newspaper. To both and President, I'd like to ask the question. So now you took another step to take the capital alliance. What are the reasons for that? Especially Toyota was just spending the capital to hold equity, but now you are going to hold shares of each other. What are the reasons for that?
Let me answer this question. In May 2015, we signed the agreement on comprehensive collaboration, and for the next 2 years, we explored various ways for collaboration and joint efforts, and we also had various developments and activities within Toyota as well. For example, since April last year, we introduced in-house company system, we turned Daihatsu into a wholly owned subsidiary, and we also concluded alliance with other partners. Those are activities and initiatives to build ever better cars. And I think Mazda was kind enough to give a fair assessment and evaluation of our efforts to build ever better cars. So in that sense, today marks one milestone for our journey toward the future, according to my understanding. And what brought two companies together are two loves. One love is love for car, and the other love is love for hometowns. In terms of a love for cars, as was mentioned in the initial remarks, we will never allow cars to be relegated into commodities. We'll make sure that cars will continue to be in industrial products that can be made with love, and we will insist on mobility that can be called love. And we will make future mobility society much more enjoyable. And I truly mean that. So that's the first love. The second love, that is love for hometowns. Mr. Kogai usually and often says that Mazda is a company that is located in Hiroshima. When we had a hard time, the local community supported us tremendously, and we should never ever forget that support the local community gave us. Same applies to Toyota. Back in 1950, we had labor strife, or in 2010, when we had this recall issue starting in the United States, the company's survival was supported by local communities that are located in various parts of the world where we do have operation. And because we are faced with this major change, loving the cars and having people who love hometowns, the company that can really take pride in their technology born in Japan, there are certain things that only those companies can do and must do. In terms of equity relationship or capital alliance, the alliance this time, of course, reflects independence of management as well as capabilities. And while stimulating and inspiring each other, we are aiming at strengthening the collaborative relationship going forward. And that's the reason why we have decided to have this capital alliance.
豊田さんは先ほど私申し上げました通り、
Well, as I mentioned earlier,
業界が抱える将来の課題に向けて、
for the future issues of the automobile industry, that Toyota is taking up challenges and leading innovations.
会社でご覧
So that is the type of company Toyota is. So Toyota is a leading company, but still not resting on that position, that they are taking up challenges to make ever better cars and placing such effort. And we are really impressed by their effort and initiatives.
その後、双方で具体的な業務
So both companies
の打ち合わ話し合いをしてまいりましたけど、
discussed about the areas of collaboration.
エンジニアも一部入りまし
And the committee and also the engineers were involved in that
た。
discussion.
その通りでございます。我々マツダが今後
The Mazda,
我々マツダブランド
we Mazda
DNA を持った商品を作り続けて
is going to continue and producing the vehicles with Mazda brand DNA and to be evaluated by the customers and then to be able to truly contribute to the society. That we think that it is
何よりも必要であるという
necessary for us to have the collaboration with Toyota by inspiring each other and stimulating each other. So in medium to long term, to continue this type of partnership and collaboration, our product development itself.
トヨタさんに対する、先ほどいろいろ株の言葉をいただきましたですけれども
Well, although Mr. Toyoda made a very complimenting comment to us that we are continuing to build the cars which offer driving pleasure. So we should continue that otherwise, and that we do not deserve the compliment that Mr. Toyoda gave us. So by having this capital alliance,
提携の
mid to long-term
提携という形に
alliance
持っていく
and collaboration and the continuous partnership that we are going to have. So that is the reason we have the capital alliance this time.
ある方、
Any questions?
それじゃあ前のその白いシャツの方。
The first row. My name is Kawamura from GG Press. To both present, I have the question. As a pillar of the alliance, that the establishment of the company in the United States and also the local production in the United States is included. So this is really realistic. So having a joint production in the United States. So what is the benefit and also significance to both companies? And Mr. Trump, the President Trump, is pressing companies to produce in the United States. So this kind of intentions or the opinion from the President Trump, and did it have any pressure? So first, I'd like to answer to your question. Mazda will have the continuous and sustainable and stable growth. In order to do that, in terms of products, currently we have 6th generation products with Sky Active technologies. Of course, we are going to keep improving on these technologies and products. And towards the 7th generation products now, we have the prospect to achieve the excellent technologies. In the United States and in North America, that we are going to improve our sales volume. So we are working on the technology development. For sales area, we are now fundamental changes. We are having the fundamental changes. So dealer network and also customer experiences that we are going to improve so that we can truly please customers. So that is the sales method or sales structure we are going to have. And another thing that we need is the production in local areas. So efficiently and in short lead time, we can provide the vehicles and distribute the vehicles to the customers. And having that site in the country so that we can have the short lead time to the customers. And having the production base in the country means that the people in that country will be producing the vehicles, so we will have the support from that local community. So from the perspective of brand, so having the production site there is important to us. So product and sales and also the plant, these are 3 areas combined, centering around the United States. A sales volume increase that we aim for, and the customers, and especially in the United States, that we really want to offer and the satisfaction so that customers will be satisfied. So that is how we are going to study this possibility.
There was a study over 2 years, and we wanted to enhance the appeal of the automobiles. We wanted to stimulate each other too. And right now, we are studying to set up the production facility on a joint venture basis. And it will take the form of a joint venture. That means that the strength of both companies can be utilized. It will be highly efficient. It will be a sustainable plant operation. It will be best in the community, and we want to make it the most competitive too. And in the question, it was mentioned about the remark of the president in the beginning of the year, and that is not related. That is, from the start of the year, with regards to the study of the new plant, well, we are in the U.S. for already 30 years, and we wanted to have the review of the optimal production system. And as a result, from demand or competitiveness, we wanted to exert the most effectiveness. And along with the Mississippi production of Corolla, we can make in the new plant Corollas, and we can consolidate in the U.S. For Corolla. And going forward, for different segments, we could also think about enhancing the lineup of EVs with EVs. And from 2019, the Corolla production in the Mexican plant, that will be shifted to the Tacoma pickup plant, and the pickup plant production capacity will be enhanced in a speedy manner, so that, well, it will depend on the customers, maybe 400,000 vehicles per year. And employment, contribution to the economy, and also we want to be best in the town, and we want to have a plant operation that is highly competitive. And in each hometown or each country, we can share the objectives and targets, and I think that we can gain understanding in communities and countries.
Next question. So the person with blue jacket or navy blue jacket.
恐れ入ります。テレビ東京
My name is Ohama from TV Tokyo. I'd like to ask the question to two gentlemen about the electric vehicle. So in the development and also manufacturing, by having this alliance, what sort of benefit are you going to have, do you think? And the plant in the United States, in the future, are you thinking of the possibility of producing electric vehicle in the plant in the United States?
はい。EV
About electric vehicle, the alliance to jointly develop technologies for electric vehicles. So this is the time that this technology is developing. So various prospects and forecasts in the various market is very difficult, including the regulations. So for these changes, that we are going to form the structure that we can meet these and changes flexibly by having this alliance. So that is one of the effects that we expect. TNGA of Toyota Motor Corporation, Toyota New Global Architecture, and Mazda's bundled planning and concept, and also model-based development. Those are going to be used together in an effective manner. And also, by stimulating and inspiring each other, that we are going to have set a high target so that we can develop the competitive electric vehicles. So that is what we want to achieve.
I may be repeating some of the things already mentioned, but a core technology of Mazda, that is to say the concept of integrated and bundled plan, as well as model-based development that gave rise to Sky Active technology, and also Toyota's TNGA will be leveraged fully. And with the mixed team consisting of both the Mazda and Toyota people, we'll be developing this. We established that Toyota's EV business planning was established, and we'll integrate that into this new group, and we'll develop basic EV technology that can cover very broad models, starting from mini vehicles to SUVs and trucks as well. So bearing that in mind, we intend to develop EV-related technology.
About the plant in the United States in the future, are you thinking of producing electric vehicles?
As of today, we'll start the production with the models I have mentioned earlier, but in the future, what you have just mentioned may be put under our exploration consideration if right time arises.
Any other questions?
それではじゃあこちらの方。
The person this side, please.
朝日新聞の上澤と申します。
Kamigawa from Asahi Shimbun newspapers.
そうですね。世界的な流れ、特に海外
So the world trends such as a gasoline and the diesel engine vehicles, that and there's a movement that and they are going to have the regulations to ban them, and Are there any initiatives that you wanted to accelerate, and then did you have the sense of crisis that you alone cannot achieve to do something?
どこの会社も持って
I think every company has a sense of crisis, but what is different from the past competition is that in the past, we had the gasoline vehicles and the hybrids, and how we could make as many as possible and get as much support as possible from our customers. That was the competition. But in the future, there will be AI and autonomous driving and various environmentally friendly vehicles. And so we have to prepare for that. And also, centering on the emerging market, there will be new rivals appearing. And Apple, Google, these are IT companies. We also need to compete with them too. So what's different from the past is that there are no nautical charts for us to follow. It's without precedent. And so at such a time, what is important is that it's not just a matter of getting numbers or increasing numbers. Rather, in the new mobility age, what is it that we do with what passion, and who do we want to see the smile on whose faces? And with that, we have our partner Mazda, who is the same aspiration, the love for cars, and to become the best in the community, the love for the hometown and community. We share those feelings, so we wanted to partner with them first. So Toyota side had that kind of feeling.
今回の EV の取り組みというのは先ほど
Well, the initiatives to do with the electric vehicle, I think that it might be repetitive of what I mentioned earlier, but we want to produce even better products. So I think that comes down to that. As Mr. Toyoda says that we try to make even better cars. So the micro cars and passenger cars and SUV and EV, looking at those wide range, the best and the competitive EV that we are going to develop. So in order to develop good cars and excellent cars, what are we going to do? So that is why we are looking at these initiatives. So both companies are going to work hard together to inspire together, and of course we need to have various discussions, but excellent products and excellent technologies that then this collaboration and alliance will generate. That's what I am expecting. Any other questions?
じゃあそこの真ん中の方
The person in the middle.
向こう側の方はい
日経新聞の工藤と申します。
My name is Kudo from Nikkei Shimbun newspapers. I'd like to ask the question to both gentlemen. For electric vehicles, that you voiced the concern making them as a commodity, but the EV, which is not commodity, Toyota and Mazda are going to develop. And what are the characteristics and what are the challenges to realize that? For example, the core is the batteries, so the battery development, and also your collaboration policy in procurement and purchasing.
The challenges relating to EV relates to, first of all, cost reduction, especially of battery, and also making good taste and flavor of a vehicles itself. In terms of the better taste and flavor of vehicles in the past, a certain sport model vehicle, its electric version was presented, and I was requested to drive that, and I was asked of the impression after driving that, and my impression was it was an electric car. That's what I said. So no matter what form it is, in the case of electric vehicles, it's very difficult to come up with very distinctive characteristics for EVs. For OEM manufacturers, for brand manufacturers, when we try to create a specific flavor or a taste of a vehicle, it's very difficult to do that with electric vehicles. So in that sense, the Mazda's car making practice and Toyota's car making using TNGA, how can we create the electric vehicle branding by leveraging both of that, I think represents one major challenge in this area, in my view.
豊田社長のご意見と全く同じ
I totally agree with Mr. Toyoda's opinion.
マツダ
So
DNA 走る喜び
Mazda's DNA, driving pleasure, needs to be felt. So when you drive, you can enjoy it. And also under car life that you can really enjoy. So what sort of electric vehicle which has a battery with which people can enjoy driving and having driving pleasure. So that is the biggest challenge for us. I'm sure that there are many more questions, but I would like to limit the question to just one remaining question.
真ん中の方。
The person in the middle, please.
マガジン X の新庄です。
From Magazine X, my name is
会
Shinjo.
見おめでとうございます。
Congratulations on having this wedding announcement or marriage announcement. 2 years ago, probably you remember, so this is the marriage ceremony or the wedding announcement. But Mr. Toda said this is the engagement announcement. So we were really impressed to hear that. And then, so it's been 2 years, so you had a long time since then. And the fiancés and fiancées might have thought maybe in that 2 years, oh, I don't like this person anymore, I don't like the other party anymore. But now you came to this stage, and I'd like to hear your impression.
You have a good memory. I think, yes, we said that it was an engagement at that time. And when one gets engaged, well, you're only looking at the strength of each other. So it is best time in a couple's time. But over the past 2 years, during the 2 years, they were able to see our changes, and we received their evaluation of the changes taking place on our side. And on the Mazda, our view of Mazda, well, myself, Mr. Kogai, with the Mazda people, I myself met them at the test course in Mine or Miyoshi testing grounds. I visited that, and so be a driver, Mazda's car making, I was able to actually see things on the ground or in the field. And Mr. Kogai is from Chino City. He's from that city. And over 4 decades, we have Tateshina Mountain Shokoji Temple, and we have been praying for safety all these years. And the mayor of Chino gave the invitation and towards zero traffic death. The two companies feel strongly, and we were able to confirm our strong feelings, so that this 2-year engagement period, you could say, we did not get sick of each other. Rather, we were able to confirm our good virtues, and we were able to feel sure of the potential appeal of both parties. I think that was what the 2 years were about. And, well, when you say marriage, I'm not saying this because we were at Sweet Tengu, but, well, perhaps we will encounter various events on the way, and we are going to study the U.S. plant, we will study EV, and I think that we will take them as they come. Capital is, you'd say, the dowry or money for the marriage.
Well, being very honest, 2 years ago, or since 2 years ago, our corporate officers and also other members met Toyota's and staff and engineers, and we came to feel that we are good partners. The engineers and also the corporate officers of Toyota have the spirit to improve even better and more. And also their really great determination that they are going to innovate their products they have. So that is the first point that we are really impressed with. And another point is that they have such great personality. When we visit Toyota, they always offer such warm welcome. And that warm and kind welcome comes from the bottom of their heart. So Toyota is the company with great people. So the members that we had discussions with, our interpersonal relationship is really established strongly. So the people at Mazda involved in this can work together with excellent personnel at Toyota, and if we can build this great relationship, keep building this great relationship, and then we can say that this is a true marriage that we have. So we are going to continue to collaborate. Now, I'm sorry the time is running out, so we'd like to close the first session. We are going to have the photo session, so please prepare your cameras.
はい、これにて、共同記者会見の第一部を終了させていただきます。ありがとうございました。
So I'd like to close the first session. Thank you very much.
引き続き、 両社副社長による質疑
Now, we'd like to start the Q&A session for the vice presidents of both companies. We'd like to prepare for the setting, so please wait for a moment.
So,
are you ready? Are you ready? Now, I'd like to start the second session. First of all, I'd like to introduce the attendees to the second session. From Toyota Motor Corporation, Vice President, Mr. Shigeki Terashi. And from Mazda, Vice President, Mr. Akira Marumoto. Now, I'd like to take questions. We are planning to spend 25 minutes for the Q&A session. And those who have questions would like to bring a microphone to you, so please raise your hand and let us know. And before asking a question, please give us your name and your affiliation. And also, make sure that you tell us which gentleman you are asking a question to. And I would like to limit the number of questions to one question per one person. Please raise your hand. And please, the person in the front row. Tomioka from Toyo Keizai. I think it's been already asked in the first session, but the reason for the capital alliance, the business alliance was not enough, and there are things that you couldn't do, and you needed capital alliance. So what is it? And for Toyota side, maybe a soft or just a minor equity holding. Is that what Toyota is looking at? What is the plan?
As was mentioned by both presidents in the first part, we spent the past 2 years exploring various possibilities, and that led to the announcement we made today. And those items mentioned earlier are the areas in which we are going to collaborate going forward. As you will be able to see by looking at those items, you can realize that with passion and seriousness, both companies are determined to do business together in the future. This is a demonstration of their commitment. And as a testament to that, we have decided to own shares of each other's companies. So the third-party allotment and the proceeds of that will be invested in the establishment of the new plant. And with this, we will start working even harder for the further development of the future of both companies.
Well, I'd like to offer one comment as well. Earlier, President Toyoda said that the automotive industry has a lot of challenges toward the future. And together with new players coming to the industry, we need to compete and also jointly work together. And toward the future, the industry itself has a challenge, and for that, I'm hoping that we can expand the opportunities for alliance and the cooperation. And that's the reason why we come to conclude that we should need the capital alliance. Are there anybody else who need to ask a question? The lady from the third row there. Shiraki from Reuters. Nice to see you. And I'd like to ask you a more deeper question about the capital alliance. In the press release, at the very end of that, depending upon the progress status of the alliance of the capital, you are going to further study the expansion of capital alliance. That's what it says, and based upon this capital alliance, it says so. In order to, I think you may have set 30% as a maximum in order to have independence or the individuality, or you may have some very detailed plan behind the scenes, and you have that, and that's why there is a possibility of having more equity holding each other. Well, that kind of interpretation is kind of something I just thought. 51% is total. The case of Daihatsu that you have ownership of the Daihatsu, but I don't think it's the case. But what is your intention of this? As Mr. Kogai and Mr. Toyoda said, as we proceed with this capital and business alliance, there's this basic principle, which is to make sure that we have independent brands and also autonomy of management, business, and furthermore, we need to respect the people and the culture of each other, and we should hone each other and compete between each other. That's the basic policy. So as you can understand from that, for the future, depending on the theme of collaboration in the future, we will study the possibility of expanding the capital alliance, but there is a very basic premise that we must have autonomy and also the independency, and that's something we confirm.
Let me also add my comment. This time, if we look at the content of the alliance, there are plans or EV, and other than that, there are many items that are being studied. And stock, equity, capital, that's not how the talk started. We talked about doing business together, and then that led to the capital alliance. And as Mr. Marumoto said, independence, autonomy has to be assured. In other words, the mutual relationship will always have this as the basis. It's not that, well, because you have a certain percentage of ownership, you're going to go and expand right away.
Any other questions from anybody? The very front row. Kono from Chugoku newspaper. Pleased to meet you. And I like to ask this question mainly to Mazda. Mazda canceled the partnership with Ford, and Mazda is having this policy of expanding soft partnership with many companies. But it looks as if that you are entering into Toyota Group with this initiative. In Toyota's side, Mazda entering into a Toyota Group, it's going to add the volumes, and as the competition intensifies, is it the Toyota's wants that the Mazda entering into Toyota Group? Entering into a group, well, I'm not sure the definition of that. As Vice President Terashi said earlier, based upon the alliance, we are now having this capital tie-up, and I may be repeating myself, but the individual brands and also autonomous management and independent management should be preserved. And so there's no such case that, like you said. And that's why I try to answer.
So ourselves and the Mazda, we are, you could say, partners, and it's not that one is going to enter into the group of the other. We are like-minded partners. Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? A person behind there.
One question for either of you, whoever feels more suitable to answer it. It seems that we were told that the vehicles made at this plant will be built on TNGA. Is that correct? Both Mazda and Toyota vehicles will be built on TNGA at this plant?
ウォール・ストリート・ジャーナルのショーン・スパイサーと申します。英語で質問させていただくことをお許しいただきたいと思います。で、お答えはどちらでも、これは自分が答える方が適切だとお考えの方にいただければよろしいんですけれども、伺うところによりますと、この新しい工場で作られる車、これはトヨタの車もマツダの車も TNGA ベースの車になるんでしょうかという理解でよろしいんでしょうか。I'll answer that question first. In terms of the joint venture that we are going to explore further, establishment of 2 production lines are going to be explored. One line producing Toyota vehicles and the other one producing Mazda vehicles. So from that perspective, naturally, as far as Toyota's production line is concerned, this line will be producing TNGA-based vehicles, but as far as Mazda's production line is concerned, it will be used to produce the vehicle planned by Mazda itself. That's how I am thinking right now.
それでは他にご質問。
Any other questions from anybody? The person at the back? Over there? From a Nikkan Kogyo newspaper. My name is Shimizu. Whichever gentleman is fine for me, but looking at your announcement this time, as for the parts sourcing, are there anything that you're doing together or commonize? Doesn't say anything for that, but from suppliers' perspective, I'm sure they're very much interested in that. So as for the sourcing procurement, are there any actions you're taking in terms of doing it together? Well, out of those business alliances, most of them are about the technology development. So since it's a technology development, when it comes to production and sourcing, they should be separated from that. That's the basic stance. And as for the U.S. joint venture plant, as Vice President Tershi said earlier, the Toyota products and Mazda products will be produced there. But as a plant, there are many things they have to purchase, like steel, sheet, and those components. Well, in terms of procurement, those things maybe we can think of something doing together, but we haven't decided anything yet, so we are going to study that from now on.
他にご質問のある方いらっしゃいますか。
Anybody else? And person in the middle. Nakajima from Kyodo Tsushin. I have a question to Mr. Marumoto. What you're going to produce in the U.S. plant is a newly introduced crossover model. That's what it says. What model you're thinking about for that? And the powertrain, is it a gasoline engine or it's or EV or what kind of engine, the powertrain that model will have? As you see in the press release, it's a crossover model. That's it. It says. So that's for sure. But what engine we're going to have and what we're going to do for the electrification, that's something we're going to study from now. As soon as we come to see a final picture, I will make sure that we will report you again. So that's my answer.
他にご質問ある方いらっしゃいますか。
Anybody else? And person at the back? From TV Asahi, my name is Kong. This time, the joint development of technologies for EVs. For that, specifically between Toyota and Mazda, well, in terms of the strengths and also for the development of EV technologies, where are the areas that you can kind of use your expertise and the strengths? What kind of areas you have for each? We believe our strengths is that, as Mr. Toyoda, President of Toyota, said earlier, over the last several years, Mazda has been working on a common architecture and the flexible manufacturing. And based upon that, we have a bundle planning and Sky Active engine. And also, furthermore, in 2019, we said that we're going to introduce a EV vehicle. So the model-based development that we apply for our vehicles for those, that's going to be our strength.
On our side, well, often people say we're lagging behind in EV. RAV4 EV in 1990s, around 2010, was what we had said. And with that experience in mind, for hybrids and PHVs and FCVs, various kinds of environmental technology are being studied. And basis is electricity, batteries, and motor. In other words, these are the basic components for electrification, which will become very important. And we have our past experience and what we are going forward. Hybrid PHV using these kinds of technology. And as Mazda mentioned, the bundled planning, we want to cover this time, the platform, the base, from mini vehicles or even up to the small trucks, so that we want to have bundle planning of something that can be used throughout. And at the early timing, we hope that this kind of fundamental technology can be established.
Any other person? The person at the far back. I have this question to both companies. I am Ogawa from Nikkei Automotive. Maybe this is similar to the earlier question. Development of EV technologies. Is it about the EV platform you're going to generally develop it and use it together, or is it about the components, parts, or could you just elaborate on that? As for EV platform, well, we are going to jointly develop the EV platform. That's how you should understand.
Platform, there are different definitions of platforms. As you know, the body, the suspension, and major components of the units, those are hard platforms. But more recently, as was mentioned earlier, artificial intelligence, automated driving, those software aspects being used to control vehicles. So those also represent software-based platform, and therefore the technology of a hardware-based and platform as well as software-based platform will be jointly developed. And actual building of vehicles using those would be done each using their own OEM capability.
Anybody else who have a question? Person over there. Kagawa from Yomiuri newspaper. This question is to Mazda. And Mazda has strengths in terms of technology. That is, one of them is a clean diesel, I think. And recently, especially in Europe, since the VW incident, there is a very strong against wind to diesel. Is it one of the did it give you some impact in terms, and also that's actually one of the reasons you having this, well, diesel scandal didn't have any impact at all for this decision of alliance. I'd like to take the last one question. Anybody who has a question? Lady over there. Nobuhiro from Bloomberg. I have a question to Mazda. in the U.S. You're going to build the plant, and the president said he wants to take a good care of local production, but also the president wants to take a good care of the domestic market. And Hofu Ujina domestic production is something that the Mazda is always putting a strong priority. But it's good to produce the vehicles locally in the market. But now the industry in the U.S. is getting tougher, and maybe the SUV pickup is being progressive. But are there any change you anticipate because of those changes? Currently, we are in the next year is the last year of stage 2 of the structural reform plan, and the next midterm business plan, we think about that, and if we want to globally grow like annually 50,000 units at the stable pace, 2020 and 2021, in those years we have to sell like 1.8 million units. So for that, for global all plants we have, including the standard production time, including some overtime. Well, based upon that operation pattern, we have to make sure that we operate those plants at 100% utilization ratio. And in US, there's this drastic review of the sales. Also, in the next generation product should be combined, and new product, and with that we would like to grow the United States, and for that reason we just judged it is important to have the production site in the US. I'd like to conclude today's joint announcement. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yamaoka of Toyota Motor Corporation. In the previous Q&A session, when Toyota mentioned that in terms of a production model to be produced in Mexico plant, he mentioned that it was going to be changed from Corolla to Tacoma, and he mentioned, some of you seems to have misunderstood that 400,000 units are going to be produced, but the accurate understanding is 400,000 units of Tacoma will be produced in North America, combining the production of Mexican plant and also the plants in the United States as well. So that's the correction I wanted to make. Thank you.